tell you something about Korea, specifically racism in Korea. Well, to some of you who are into K-pops and who are a big fan of K-dramas, you would not actually believe what I'm going to tell you. But for foreigners like me or for the rest of those who are living in Korea right now, Korea is not really a good place for foreigners, simply because most Koreans, not all, I'm not taking it in general, but yeah, most of them, they don't treat foreigners fairly. Like, there is a separation, a big gap between Koreans and foreigners. Like, there are things that only Korean nationals could do that, or could have that service, while on the other hand, foreigners are not allowed to have it. And on the street, you would actually obviously feel and experience racism. First, physically. Most of the elders on the street, like the 할아버지 and 할머니 grandfathers or grandmothers walking on the street or at the bus stop, they would give you a stare right in front of you, like looking at you noticeably from head to foot, literally. Seriously, they do that all the time and they don't mind. And they would stare your skin tone, especially if you're black. Oh my gosh, Lucy, what are you doing? I'm vlogging. If you're black, then they would give you a very obvious look or stare. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry guys. I know, right? I'm supposed to speak seriously, I'm supposed to, yeah. But now my vlog sounds so funny. Then the other thing, so the other things are, what else? If they know, yeah, they would base their treatment on how you look physically first, and age really matters in Korea. The older you are, the more power you get, and the younger you are, the less power you get. Then going back to racial discrimination, I experienced once on the bus. So I was sitting, it was winter, I was sitting on the right side, and the window was open, but somebody opened it, and obviously it's not me. But the grandmother sitting on my left side was yelling, and she was saying, "Kara," like it means you shut the window, you have to shut the window. But at that time, I just understood what she said, but I can't really respond in Korean. So I was like, but at the back of my mind, I really wanted to tell her, like, it's not even me, so why were you yelling at me? But I didn't have the nerve to respond that way, so I just ignored it, and then I was just, yeah. So I was just like a kitten sitting and putting my head down until I got off the bus. Yeah, so, oh, I remember, when it was my first time to get a job, so my first Korean boss in Korea introduced me as a Singaporean instead of a Filipina, because she told me that Koreans really don't like to have a Filipino teacher because of our accent, our Filipino accent. So that was shoot, man. Yeah, that is very insulting. So, but at that time, I didn't have any choice but to grab the opportunity because I was already there, and it was the only job I had at that time. So, for 3 years, I have to tell my students that I'm Singaporean. So, whenever they visit the Philippines, I could not share something about Philippines. And if they ask me about my country, Singapore, I just changed the topic because I couldn't even tell, or, yeah, I don't have anything to tell about Singapore because I'm not a Singaporean. Then the other experience was, I clearly remember I was inside a house and we have newly transferred to a new house, and the door was open slightly, and then suddenly an ajumma, or a married Korean woman, passed by, and then she couldn't easily get there or pass, so she yelled at me. She looked at me saying, "Yeah!" Like, yeah means hey. That's so impolite. She didn't even bother to ask why it was open, and first and foremost, I was not the one who opened the door. It was the moving stuff. But they're very mean to foreigners. And there were instances wherein you could actually hear from old Koreans, like, 한국말 하세요. Even you're walking on streets, they would mind if you're talking on the bus, even if it's not loud. But as long as you were talking in your mother tongue, they would think you're noisy. So they would take it as a noise. but even though they're actually noisier than you. Yeah. Then, what else? And there was this instance when I and my friend, yeah, the two of us were eating some street foods, and an ajushi, it's not really an ajushi, but harabuchi, an old grandfather, of course. Grandfather, he was standing there, and then he was buying something also, and then he stared at us, and he said, "Oh, 왜 여기 왔어? 왜 여기 왔어? 가, 필리핀 가. 그냥 필리핀 가. He was telling us to go back to Philippines. He's asking why we're here and then go back to our country. I knew for sure I was not the only one who have experienced that. Many of us, most of the foreigners would experience racism in Korea, and that is not a new one. And I don't know what's on their mind. Why the heck? Yeah. I could not blame them because the media, or when you watch news about Philippines or about Filipinos, the Korean news is just showing the bad sides about Filipinos and the Philippines. The Philippines is a poor country, it's dirty, and Filipinos are poor, hopeless, or we snatch, or we're criminals, something like that. They even have a bad image about our president because they all hear is that pang 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 Duterte pang 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 pang. Oh Duterte pang 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 pang, and that means our president has killed people. Yeah. I don't know why they have issues about Filipinos, why they have issues about our accent. When it comes to think their accent is even more terrible. I'm sorry and excuse me, but I'm telling the truth. Their accent is more terrible than Filipinos, but they mock on us. Yeah, there's no hate. I'm just telling the truth, and you should not get offended. And especially when I watched the issue about cancel Korea and that boy who ripped the Filipino flag. Shame on him, right? Yeah, he has the nerve to mock the Filipinos. But look at him. He doesn't even know how to speak English. I don't know why those Koreans mock Filipino accents. They even try to imitate our accent. Well, I can do that. I can also imitate their accent when they say English. It's not even English. It's English. And it's not even orange. They would say orangey. And they could hardly pronounce my name. It should be Christine, but instead I would say Kurisuki. Yeah, right. That's true. So there are so many experiences about racism, but those are just some of the few experiences I had when I was in Korea. It was really terrible, and if they judge you according to your color, skin tone, that's really bothering, that's really alarming, and it's so serious. And that's not even a thing. They are also very conscious about being fat. Even if you have just gained a little bit, they would think you're fat, and they would really tell it straight to your face, like, "Oh, you're fat." I remembered once one of my students screamed at the lobby, and she said, "Oh, tutulan 선생님, tutulan 선생님." Like, oh, what a shame. She was calling me fat, teacher. Yeah. And before I had this experience when I was a bit tan skinned because it was summer in the Philippines before I got in Korea. So my one of my students described me as, "Oh, my teacher color is mocha." He told me that. Good thing he didn't say I'm black, but yeah, it's mocha, and you know what color mocha is. But I don't mind. It's mocha. It's coffee. I like it. Then I experienced way back before I got in Korea. I was teaching in the Philippines. One of my students said, "Oh, musengita. Musengita. Musengita means ugly." So those adjectives they used to describe me were really shaming. Like I'm ugly, I'm fat, what else? I'm black or what? I'm mocha. Yeah. So obviously those are really insulting. But not all Koreans are like that. You could still meet some good Koreans out there. But I strongly believe those Koreans I encountered were mostly uneducated, because if they are educated, they would not really have the guts to tell right straight to my face those things. Right? And my cat is busy doing this every time. I don't know what she's up to, but maybe she wants to join the conversation. Yeah, so if you have questions about Korea, you can ask me anything. So, yeah. That's it. I'll see you again.